Mr. James Harden is in the news. Happened a couple of days ago, I believe, at this point, almost a week at this point. James Harden calls out Daryl Morey, Justin. Calls him a liar. Says, I will not play for a team that Daryl Morey has anything to do with ever again. A lot of people believe it stems from the uh, Daryl Morey and James Harden had a behind the closed doors handshake on a deal like you scratch my back, you take this pay cut. Next year, I'll give you the long-term max extension. Obviously, that has not come to fruition. What do you think about this whole situation, Justin? What was your initial reaction when you saw? Because I believe this happened overnight, and then in the morning, I guess everybody kind of just awoke to this major news from James Harden. I know I did.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny when I saw it because I believe he was at like a basketball camp with children. There's children there. And what he does on the mic is called Daryl Morey a liar, and that he will never play for a team that Daryl Morey runs. So I could just imagine him saying all that and then being like, "Oh, all right, guys, line up for some drills." Like, what is wrong with this guy? I really think something has to be. I actually think something's wrong with the dude. Like, you force your way out of Houston, you get yourself into Brooklyn, and then you want to get out of there. You get yourself into Philadelphia. You sign a long-term deal when you didn't have to. You had all the opportunities in the world to, you know, create your own path. Go and find a team that you're interested in. Go on visits and look for teams. You didn't need to re-sign with Philadelphia. You had power. The ball was in your court. You chose to stay in Philadelphia and then request a trade. Like it to me, it makes zero sense. And this is why I find the Anthony Davis route, what he did with the Pelicans to get out, was so fitting. That was the way that it should be handled. AD said, he gave him the heads up. I'm not going to resign. Okay. So do with that as you may. I'm going to play out my contract. The only thing that they did with AD was they just it was a little bit of load management, just so he didn't get hurt to tank any trade value or his stock dropping. So that was the way it was handled. That was handled completely well. And then now you see all these other players that you're signing into deals and then you're requesting trades right after them when you had full power to just go wherever the hell you wanted to play. And now you're putting the ball in the franchise's court and then you're calling people liars. You did the dumb shit, James. Like, and then you go out there and say, oh, that like there was an under the table agreement. That's illegal. You're not supposed to do that. So it's absolutely stupid to me that this is even happening. And I think the NBA landscape, all of us NBA fans, we're just kind of sick and tired of it. We're sick and tired of it. So if James Harden goes, then Philadelphia's plans go to shit. They're a crappy organization now, and then Joel Embiid is going to be dealt. That's why Miami and the Knicks are monitoring them so hard to see if Joel Embiid is available. But James Harden really screwed this entire franchise, a franchise that worked years, suffered for years. I feel bad for that fan base that had to deal with all that tanking. And then you bring in a guy like James Harden you think is going to put you into title contention. And you were there, but he shitted the bed. Over and over again, he lived up to his playoff resume. He didn't live up to it. He didn't live up to that hype that he always had. He's a playoff choker like Brandon always says, and he's been right. And I fought for James Harden, saying maybe this is different. Maybe this postseason can be different. He had the games. He had 2 monster games, and he still lets you guys down. And now he's forcing his way out, basically destroying whatever this organization has planned. Nobody's going to want James Harden. His trade value is down in the dumps. The contract is too astronomical for any team to want to pick up. This was an absolute stupid move. And then you go out there saying it's Daryl Morey's fault? No, that's absolute bullshit. I think the NBA and its teams are probably sick and tired of James Harden's shit. He's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. But the dude goes out of his way to ruin people's careers. Kevin McHale got fired 10, 11 games into a season with Houston because dude wanted to come in fat just to force him out. Like, this is what NBA, I get it. It's a players' league, but James Harden has done too much, has ruined too many coaches, has ruined too many organizations, and left them behind, all because something didn't go his way. I'm sorry, James. You're 30 something years old. That's life. That's life. It's not going to go your way. Now, just because you're a big time millionaire, you can't get your way in everything, bro. Go back to a Houston strip club. You should have stayed in Houston. You should have been happy there. You had everything. They loved you over there. You forced your way to Brooklyn. It didn't work out. Forced your way to Philadelphia. It didn't work out. Guess what? You could have signed with the freaking Clippers. You could have signed with any organization, but you didn't. You screwed yourself. You screwed the pooch.
I mean, it's all your statements are 100% valid and correct. It's year after year with this guy. I mean, first off, he actually initially wanted to go to Philadelphia, right, from Houston. That's where he was trying to demand himself because he wanted to go back with Daryl Morey. It all starts with the Houston days when he first got to Houston. Daryl Morey wanted him so badly because Daryl Morey, if I'm not mistaken, just coveted James Harden as this project, this pet project that he can mold and be this because I think Daryl Morey is this analytical guy that's big into it. That's why he hired D'Antoni too. And they created this style of play that really fit James Harden, what James Harden wanted to do, and he became that. And there's reports and all this about James Harden, how he's been coddled for years in Houston, how people, D'Antoni wasn't allowed to show bad tape of James Harden during film session because that's how much they were coddling him. You brought up the Kevin Malone, Kevin Malone, right? McHale, sorry. That situation, he just came out and made comments that he believed James Harden, wanted him out of there, and James Harden did what he needed to do to get him out of there. They brought him Dwight Howard. I brought up the series against Portland where James Harden was the fourth best player on that court behind Dwight Howard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Damian Lillard in his second year, and they lost. They started to blame Dwight Howard. He didn't want Dwight Howard anymore. Dwight Howard was the problem. Get Dwight Howard out of there. Get me Chris Paul. Okay, James, we got you. We'll get you Chris Paul. Chris Paul gets you basically to the precipice. He gets injured, but he gets you to a precipice. You're in a game 7 in Houston. You're up at halftime. Even when you're having a historically terrible shooting night, you're up at halftime. And you once again shit the bed. Then the next year, you guys have a down year with Chris Paul. Things start going awry. There's reports coming out that Chris Paul and James Harden are going head to head. James Harden says, get rid of Chris Paul. They get rid of Chris Paul. Get me Russell Westbrook. All right, we'll bring you your friend Russell Westbrook. They bring in Russ. They beat the OKC Thunder, who take them 7 games, led by the guy that they booted out of town in Chris Paul, who thought that team was going to be a lottery team at best. Beat them in 7, then get beat by the Los Angeles Lakers pretty handedly. Then you say it's Russell Westbrook's fault. Get rid of Russell Westbrook. All right, we'll get rid of Russ. Now I don't want to be in Houston. I'm going to come in overweight. Get me to Philadelphia. We're not going to send you to Philly. All right, get me to Brooklyn with Kyrie and KD. They get you there. You start playing. You get sick and tired of Kyrie shit, according to reports. You want out of Brooklyn now. You say, get me to Philadelphia. They get you to Philadelphia. You're in Philly. And you shit the bed 2 years in a row in the playoffs. You were supposed to be the difference maker. You shit the bed twice. Multiple times, actually. Not just twice. Now you want out of Philly. Well, actually, first you say, get rid of Doc Rivers and I'll probably stay. You get rid of Doc Rivers. Now you want out again. I'm not, and I say all that. That's just a brief summary of the James Harden history, right? And it's not even really brief, but that's as brief as you're going to fucking get with James Harden. I say all that to say this. He's probably right in this situation, but James Harden is the boy who cried wolf. Nobody gives a shit anymore, man. We're tired of it. We're really tired. Okay? Because every time you come up short, you're the one. And you're supposed to be the guy, the difference maker, and you're coming up short. We're tired of it. Everybody's tired of it. I don't know what happens. He probably well, all I know is he's not going to be on Philadelphia. He's not. But wherever he goes is wherever he goes. I don't think the Clippers is a good shot. I wish the Clippers would stay clear. I love Russ there now. That took me a while to get used to it. Just I don't want add another person that I'm going to be like, God damn it, my boy Kawhi and Paul George, they're going to Tyronn Lue are going to get infected. He's got losing intangibles, James Harden. Losing intangibles. That's what James Harden is.
Yep. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about winning, man. He doesn't care about it. It's just it's if you lose, he starts to finger pointing. No accountability for his actions whatsoever. No accountability for him wetting the bed so many times in the postseason when he could have gone to NBA Finals. He should have played in multiple by now. He probably should have played in 2 NBA Finals at this point. Yeah. But to each his own, right?
Exactly.